Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about the crisis in Syria today with new images where rebel forces continued the assault on Damascus that happened overnight. They are vowing to liberate the capital. It comes a day after a brazen bombing that killed several senior leaders of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's inside circle. And that bombing happened inside the National Security Building. Here's Defense Secretary Leon Panetta talking about what was going on.
The violence there has only gotten worse, and the loss of lives has only increased, which tells us that this is a situation that is rapidly spinning out of control.
Akil Hashem is a retired Syrian brigadier general who knew some of those men who were killed yesterday. It's nice to have you, sir. Thanks for talking with us. Tell me a little bit about the 3 men who were killed.
First of all, the older one is Hassan Turkmani, who was the deputy chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, and then the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, and then the defense minister for years and years. And now he is the head of that committee. They called it the Administration of the Crisis Committee.
So dealing very hands-on with the rebels.
High-rank officials, like head of these intelligence agencies.
Inner circle.
Inner circle, very inner circle. And this is the first one. And I know him very well. We served in the same 9th Division for years and years together. And of course, I know the rest. The defense minister was among my students when I was a professor in the Higher Military Academy. And also Asif Shaukat, who is the brother-in-law of the president, also was among my students. So I know them very well. It is a big hit. It is a big blow for the regime and a big boost for the revolution.
General, for the rebels to have gained access to this really important inner circle you just described, would that have required turncoats within the regime? Would that have required the rebels to have coordination within the Assad regime?
First of all, there is hundreds and hundreds of high-rank officers and people in the agencies, in the armed forces, who are cooperating with the revolution right now. I like Soledad to put all these people fighting in the regime under one name, the freedom fighters, which the FSA, you know, the Free Syrian Army, is just like 25% of that number, and the rest are civilians volunteer to fight this regime. So there is so many of people inside the inner circle and inside all these forces of the regime are cooperating with the freedom fighters, sending information about all movement. One of these people, who was the one responsible to put that blast in that room yesterday morning.
Do you think then, given this level of coordination that you're suggesting, there's a possibility for a military coup?
There is a possibility for everything. I just said it yesterday. It is open to all possibilities. First of all, this president might flee the country today or tomorrow. There might be, he might be assassinated. He might be subject to military coup even from his own brother, Maher al-Assad. It might be like a huge number of high-rank officials defecting from the regime right now or in the next few days. But these defections from the regime, I don't consider it as a politically motivated defections rather than jumping out of the sinking ship of the regime.
So you describe it as a sinking ship, but at the same time, if we were to show a camera on homes, you would see that the government forces are battering that city, that the people there are under siege. So it doesn't seem as if, at least immediately, that there's been this pullback, that the fight still goes on. Many people have described this assassination as a turning point. Is it really, do you think?
Actually, I believe it is the beginning of the end more than a turning point. The problem is, if I have time, that we have a very stalled situation in Syria. We have a regime whom I know very well will not stop killing people forever and ever. Never stop killing people, no matter what. And on the other side, there is a people, the Syrian people decided to fight this regime also forever and ever, and they don't care about sacrifices. They already sacrificed hundreds of thousands of people so far in this fight. So how can we change the situation if the regime will continue killing people and the people will continue fighting the regime. This is what I was calling for months and months, that we need an international military intervention, even without the need for a Security Council resolution. But unfortunately, this intervention cannot be happened without the participation and the leadership of the United States. And Mr. Obama, unfortunately, whom I voted for him in 2008 and I volunteered in his campaign, he doesn't care about the Syrian people. He cares right now about one thing: re-election. That's it. So people get killed every single day by hundreds. Yesterday, over 200 people. The day before, more than that. And nobody is moving to intervene.
Can it be the beginning of the end if there is not intervention by the United States? You've said both. So can it happen? Can, in fact, Assad will leave or be run out, or there'll be a coup without the intervention of a superpower?
Okay. Any dramatic event can change the whole situation. Like, for example, as an act of revenge, if the regime committed a huge massacre, like what happened in Srebrenica in Bosnia, like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people get killed by air bombing, for example. This will move the whole international community and force the international community to intervene in Syria. I said it repeatedly. The international intervention will happen in Syria sooner or later, but unfortunately, not before another 15 or 20,000 people get killed. I can give you numbers. I receive every single day from inside Syria over 2,500 messages and notifications and phone calls from all the factions fighting in Syria right now, civilians and militarily. I know for sure this number. There is so far almost around 25,000 people, we know them by name, one by one, have been killed so far. And double this number, missing people, most of them, we believe, already killed, or maybe all of them, and dumped somewhere in a mass grave. So there is 3 million people refugee, 2 inside Syria and the rest outside Syria. People lost homes, lost property. Syria is like a war zone. I see Homs and other cities in Syria very similar to the European cities during World War II. And this regime is continuing to kill people. So it has to be, the international community has to step up to this crisis and intervene in Syria.
Akil Hashem is retired Syrian Brigadier General. It's nice to have you talk to us, sir. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Obviously,
You're welcome all.
Keep following this story. We got to take a break. Ahead on Starting Point, who could